Today I'm going to help you sew up a kimono gown that we use. This is one of the gowns that we like to use at Utah Share. It's a really quick and simple pattern, just a good pattern for beginners to start with. I've already cut out my pieces. Oh, the patterns can be found at utahshare.org, and instructions for printing as well as instructions that you can print out and follow are available there. I've already cut out my pieces and run a zigzag stitch around the edge of my fabric so that I don't have any fraying, so we're just going to jump right in. The first step is you're going to take one of your front pieces with right sides together, lay it over the back piece, pin at the shoulder, and you're just going to sew across the shoulder seam on both shoulders. I should add that it's a 1/4 inch seam allowance on these gowns. Once you have that finished, go ahead, and I like to clip all my threads as I go. You can wait till the end to do that if you want. Go ahead and press your seam allowances toward the back of the gown. Okay, once you have pressed your seam allowances to the back, it's time to finish the hem on the arms, and you're simply going to fold your fabric toward the wrong side, fold it in 1/4 inch, and then sew along that line about 1/8 inch in from the fold to finish off your seam. There you've got your hemmed arms. After you get your armholes hemmed, it's time to start the side seams. You are going to take right sides together and pin along this edge right here, and then you're going to sew that up. You're going to do that on both sides. If you are doing a ribbon closure, however, do the first side and then I'll show you how to do the ribbon closure. You need to sew that ribbon into the side seam of one of your sides. So if you are just going to do Velcro or a button, you can go ahead and sew up both of those side seams right now. Otherwise, I will show you in just a second here how to put in the ribbon closure. Okay, for your ribbon closure, you should already have your ribbon cut to the appropriate size indicated in the pattern. You should also have marked, I don't know if you can see this, you should also have marked on your fabric where the ribbon closure markings are on your pattern. Just take a fabric marker or pencil and put a little mark on your fabric so that you know where to put the ribbon in when the time comes. I'll put some pictures up on the screen to show you this a little bit more closely. It's indicated in the pattern that if your ribbon is different on one side, you need to make sure that the side you want facing up is facing up. So pin it in, flip your gown around, and just make sure. I have a little bit more detailed instructions in the written pattern, but my ribbon is the same on both sides, so it really doesn't matter. You're just going to slide it in and line it up. Slide it in between your two pieces, your front and your back piece, and line it up. Leave a little tail coming out, but line it up with your mark that's there. So you can kind of see, if I've lined that up with the mark, I'm just going to take a pin and grab my pins. Take a pin and pin that ribbon right in place like that, so that when you sew the side seam, the ribbon is secured in with it. We'll clip this tail here in just a minute. If you need more detailed instructions on that, be sure to check the written instructions that are available at Utah Share, and you'll be able to see a little bit better how that works. But it's a little bit confusing. When we get to the one that goes on the hem, it's even more confusing, but once you see it done, it's really not too bad. So after that's put in place, zip up the sides with a straight stitch and finish off that seam, press the allowance toward the back of the gown. Okay, so as you can see, I've sewn that in, the little tail sticking out, but when I flip my gown around, I've got my ribbon coming out so that it's ready to be tied. You're just going to take this small little tail, clip it off, use a little bit of clear nail polish or some fray check to just put on the end of that so that it doesn't fray, and you've got your first ribbon closure done. The next step is going to be hemming the edges of your gown. You're going to take your seam gauge, turn the insides of the seam or of the fabric toward the wrong side, turn them in 1/4 of an inch, and press them all the way around the entire gown. Okay, I've got my hem pressed and ready to go, but before I top stitch that, since I'm doing a ribbon closure on this gown, I need to get my second ribbon ready. On this gown, I put the first ribbon on, if I'm looking at the gown, I put my first ribbon on the left side. That means that I need to put my second ribbon on the front piece of the right side. I'll put up some pictures so that you can see what this is going to look like. You'll have your mark on your fabric from your pattern on where to place your ribbon. You're going to slide it underneath the hem that you've pressed down, and then you're going to fold it over. So it's kind of like making a little hook that hooks into that hem, so that when you've sewn that in and you turn it around, your ribbon is like this. Okay, so I've gone ahead and pinned in my ribbon. You can see that it's, well, you probably can't see, but it's just kind of hooked underneath that little bit of hem. I'm going to run a top stitch around the whole thing, about 1/8 of an inch in from the folded edge. You just want to make sure that you're catching this end, so it doesn't have to be exact, but there are a few places at this point that are a little bit tricky. It's a little bit tricky going around the shoulders up here, through the neck, and then these rounded corners at the bottom are a little bit tricky. Just make sure you go slow in those spots and they will turn out just fine. After you have run your top stitch around your hem, go ahead and give your gown one final press. If you did a ribbon closure, see if I can hold this up, tie it, put some fray check or some clear nail polish on the ends of your ribbons if they need to be trimmed up, get that done, and then you're finished. If you did not do the ribbon closure, go ahead and add a button or Velcro or whatever it is that you plan to close your gown with. And then that's finished too. Quick and easy, no fuss. If you have any questions, visit us at utahshare.org and we'd be happy to answer them.